During the recitation of the small exorcism, Anneliese began to whimper and to moan, and she pleaded, "Stop, it's burning." When asked where, she answered, "In my back, in my arms." What was also striking on that day was that she tried to knock the book containing the exorcism prayer according to Pope Leo XIII out of Father Alt's hands. When we left the Michel home about 2 hours later, we were both convinced more than ever that we were dealing with a case of possession. After the exorcism, her problems did not go away. Anneliese's torment reached heights that no one could possibly have anticipated. Sleep was nearly impossible, allowing her at most 1 or 2 hours uneasy rest. She rushed through the house, up and down the steps, bucking like a billy goat. She knelt down, then got up, again with incredible speed, until her knees swelled and were ulcerated. Her coarse, incessant screams, rising and falling like waves scudding against a rocky shore, echoed from the walls. Then a peak would come, she would tremble and twitch, and, as a consequence of the enormity of her agitation, she would lapse into complete catatonic-like rigidity, not moving arms or legs, and even the screams at last would cease for a while. Along with her excitation came muscle power that was close to superhuman. Peter saw her take an apple and effortlessly squeeze it with one hand so that the fragments exploded throughout the room. Fast as lightning, she grabbed Roswitha and threw her on the floor as if she were a rag doll. Her neck muscles tensing like bands of steel, she could not swallow any solid food and could take liquids only sometimes. She stuffed flies and spiders into her mouth, tried to chew on coal, urinated on the kitchen floor and licked it up, and chewed on panties soaked with urine. Love became hate. Her family learned to duck her vicious blows. Now I'm quoting this in detail in order to illustrate 2 points. Number one, that it's hard to imagine almost anything worse which could befall an individual. Becoming possessed, and possessed to this point, where not only are demons inside a person, but are not allowing a person to do what that person wants to do and forcing it to do other things. And the second point is that the devil is in existence, that he's out there trying to drag souls into hell, to get people into mortal sin and into his kingdom, whereby they become vulnerable to things like demonic possession, demonic influence, and ultimately being the property of the devil, so that if that person dies in the state of mortal sin, that person will be with the devil.